This video is for educational purposes only, YouTube.
So, land races, old school genetics, classics that some of us may have never experienced and others wish that we could have back. This is a series I'm going to start now and we'll see how far it goes, but for now I want to start about one that really hits home for me because it was the first chronic that I had. So in this series I'm going to start going over the history of old school genetics, and I'm going to start with one of my favorites, Durban Poison.
Like we always do about this time.
This video is brought to you by AC Infinity. Whether it be air control, air quality, lighting, or your tent itself, or the entire kit, AC Infinity has got you locked down, and they continue to innovate time after time again with just amazing products. Now their products go very fast, well, because they're in high demand. Supply and demand is a real thing, and when you got a supply that's as great as this, you better jump on it quick. You can use discount code CLtv at checkout to save yourself some money, and if you're on Amazon, use CLtv AC10. Now if you're new here, my name is Rob, and this is CLtv, and we talk all things herb. Today in particular, we're going to be talking about the history of Durban Poison. Now what's a genetic you'd like to see me dive deeper into and get a little bit more familiar with the history of? Let me know below in the comment section. Durban Poison is a Landrace sativa. It's a throwback genetic that started a lot of classic genetics that you know now, such as Girl Scout cookies, for example. But real quick, let's just touch on what a Landrace genetic actually is. So a Landrace strain refers to a plant that's been developed naturally in a specific geographic region, without human intervention or selecting breeding. These strains are indigenous to the particular area and have adapted to the specific environmental conditions of the native habitats over many generations. They typically are named after the regions or origins such as Afghani, Thai, or in this case, Durban Poison from Durban, South Africa. Landrace strains are known to be genetically pure, meaning that they haven't been crossed with anything. A lot of these are the original parents of the genetics we have today. Some of them are the great-great-great-grandparents of what we've had today. Now, Durban Poison wasn't always around. This was actually something that was discovered in the early 70s by someone named Ed Rosenthal. Now, if you're not familiar with Ed Rosenthal, you're probably newer generation and newer into the grow game and really aren't hip to some of the classic, old school, original pioneers of the space. Utilizing landrace genetics in today's breeding could really bring back some of these really crucial traits that help people develop things that were great for the climates that they were in, the regions they were in, or the impact of the growth that they were looking for. Now in particular, Durban Poison was known for its faster flowering for being a sativa. Now these seeds represented not just the physical characteristics of the plant, but also the culmination of the local growing practices and environmental adaptations. Now returning to the United States, Rosenthal began cultivating the seeds in California. The strain adapted really well to the Northern California climate, which shares some similarities to the subtropical climate of Durban. This distinct quality of Durban Poison, its sweet smell, the potent energetic high, and particularly its fast flowering times compared to other sativas, made it a massive favorite amongst most American growers. Now, in the 70s, Ed Rosenthal was really getting things popping when it came to genetics. He was hunting land races from across the globe. His journey to Durban was one of the most pivotal moments in his career because he was able to find Durban Poison. Now, as it made its way across to different growers, it also made its way into the hand of a bunch of aspiring breeders, and it became a building block for a lot of breeders to get going. Now, utilizing a sativa that isn't going to take 12 to 14 weeks is really ideal. Something that's 10, 11 weeks, sometimes 9 weeks, where you're looking to get some of the sativa effects mixing into something like a indica-based profile. Now, if you don't know much about Ed Rosenthal, I definitely recommend that you dive deeper into him. He's a legend. We bumped into him in Las Vegas with the boys over for MJ BizCon. The guy's a legend. Definitely out there as one of the main original gurus, advocates, and pioneers of this plant. Now, this genetic has changed the game. Durban Poison, being the parent of Girl Scout cookies, has created a lot of genetics that you and I have loved and grown over time. For example, gelato. This is a cut of Girl Scout cookies that's been crossed with Sunset Sherbet. Or platinum cookies. This is again Girl Scout cookies that's been a back cross mixing OG and Durban. Wedding cake. This is Girl Scout cookies and cherry pie, making Durban Poison the grandparent of this one directly. We wouldn't have this amazing variety without having the land races, and this is why I think it's important to preserve the land races and the history of where these genetics come from. Now, why is Durban Poison a cultivar that should be remembered? Well, its ability for faster flowering as a sativa is a massive one for breeders who are trying to work with that, but the smoking side of this is definitely on point as well. It has a nice, sweet, earthy kind of pine funk to it that hits you in all the notes in terms of flavonoids and terpenes. The effect is very cerebral, but at the time heavy enough where you're feeling almost the traditional indica buzz with the sativa heady effect. Not the hardcore couch lock, but something that's going to keep you going. Now again, depending on the version of Durban Poison that you have, it may be different. but original Landrace, this is what it was known for. When you're dealing with a genetic like this, it's a great starting point and again, building block for breeders to work with. Now when it comes to a genetic like Durban Poison, it's one that's still highly sought after, but a lot of newer generation growers aren't familiar with. Little do they know, again, they've probably grown it indirectly. Now if you're looking to get some great genetics, potentially some that have come from Durban Poison, make sure you check out Seedsman. You can use discount code CLtv to show some love to the channel and save some money for your pocket. Now if you've had experience with what you think is the original, let me know below in the comment section. And if there's something that you feel I left out of this history, please let me know, drop below in the comment section, and of course, stay lifted.
Are you a grower? Are you tired of lugging around too many bottles? Is it too expensive? Is it so confusing? Tired of reading feed charts? Well, guess what? There is an easier way. Introducing the Stash Blend. You can now get your bag of Stash Blend premium additives that you can add to your garden using just about any base nutrients. Go to stashblend.com and get your order today.